Welcome to the 365 Retirement Podcast with the team at Rubino & Lang Wealth Partners. John Conley is here today. My name is Randy Cook, and each week we talk through some of the issues of retirement, some of the things you might be worried about, and maybe we can help you out. And by visiting the team at Rubino & Lang Wealth Partners, maybe we can plan through it and help you with your retirement plan. John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Randy. How are things with you, my friend?
I'm good. I like this time of year for sure, but some of the headlines are a little funky as far as that market is concerned. We've got an election year going, and there's a lot of worry about what's going on. But as I put my nose in the business news, this was kind of shocking to me. We all know about Tupperware. Our moms had Tupperware. Every time you open up your cabinet, there was Tupperware. Was there Tupperware at your house?
Absolutely. There's still Tupperware in the house.
Absolutely. Well, Tupperware has gone bankrupt. They're $1 billion in debt, and they're closing shop. And I looked into why. How could Tupperware go out of business? Well, they said that while everybody else was putting merchandise in stores, merchandise in Amazon, everybody online, Tupperware didn't do that. They stayed with that tried and true model of doing the Tupperware parties where moms would all come over to the house. And that ended about 2 years ago, and Tupperware is now ending as well. So it makes me think about evolving and updating. And, you know, when we talk about a financial plan, John, you've said it in the past, you can't build a plan and just set it in motion and set it and forget it. It's got to evolve. It's got to be adjustable. So talk to me about that. You build a plan. If somebody were to build a plan 5 years ago, they wouldn't be taking advantage of interest rates. They wouldn't have accounted for all the inflation we had. You got to have a plan that's going to work for you in the times we're in.
Yeah, you have to have a plan, like you said, that's going to work for you in the time that you're in. But at the same point in time, you have to be adjustable as much as your plan has to be adjustable, right? And how do you do that? One, you have to, in order to adjust your plan, you have to be meeting with your financial advisor on a quarterly or semi-annual basis. And that allows you and your advisor to kind of take a look at, hey, this is what's going on in the stock market today, in the economy. This is how your portfolio is reacting and performing during these times based on current climate. And then this is what we're going to try to do to your portfolio to either capture some growth opportunities or play a little bit of defense. Like you said, in 2022, the Federal Reserve was raising interest rates very aggressively. Mm-hmm. If you weren't meeting with your advisor and adjusting your portfolio to offset those rising interest rates, then you might have been stuck holding more bond positions than you wanted and rode that crest down, because as interest rates go up, the value of bonds go down. So you have to be looking at your portfolio and adjusting it accordingly. Like in the last 2 years, we look at the S&P 500 is above 20% the last 2 years. If you're not sitting down and having these reviews and rebalancing your portfolio, all of a sudden you could be entering into 2025 or so forth, and you might be top heavy. Your rating or risk tolerance might have gotten out of whack. Now you're taking on more risk than you're probably used to. And if the market does shift, your portfolio will go down sooner versus if you were more balanced and rebalancing your portfolio on a consistent basis.
And these things can happen without you even making any moves, because if you have money in an index fund, there's a manager of that index fund. And when NVIDIA is going crazy, they're probably pushing money there. You don't know about that. You just know that your money's going up. And then when NVIDIA goes down, then you lose money and you wonder why. And as you say, without even making a move, you can be top heavy and not ready for the next pullback. And if you're not talking about protection after the market goes up like it has, you could get stung pretty bad in retirement, couldn't you?
Yeah, we sit down with people, and you know, when the market's a little bit of volatile, you sit there and you have your reviews, and all of a sudden, maybe someone who's normally a moderately aggressive risk tolerance, and the market kind of shifts in the negative, and it's keeping them up at night, or they seem to be more nervous than maybe their risk tolerance calls for. So we have to kind of maybe adjust that, take their temperature, so to say, and look at it and say, let's go through another risk tolerance assessment with you and see if your philosophy has changed. Are you still moderately aggressive? Your risk tolerance is one thing that you think you can handle. but what is it that your portfolio needs? So you may say, I want to become more conservative during these times, but your portfolio may not be able to handle a more conservative portfolio. Or vice versa. You might be like, hey, I could be much more conservative. I don't have to be aggressive anymore. I saved enough. I don't need my money to work so hard for me. So we want to make sure that we're adjusting the portfolio, rebalancing it on market conditions, economic conditions. We're entering an election in a few weeks. And then also on what your stomach can handle and what your philosophy is behind that.
And so we're looking and talking about the things on the outside that can affect your money. But what about the things that happen in your life? I mean, it's one thing if the economy's going one direction and you got to keep track of that and you've got to know what's working and what's not working and what might work in the next 6 months or a year. But if all of a sudden a spouse passes away, a kid moves back home, somebody gets a divorce, I decide I want to make my house the pool party for all my grandchildren and I want to build a pool. All of those things mean I got to sit down with my financial advisor and maybe adjust my plan.
Yeah, like two perfect examples with reviews I just had this week with clients of ours. One client basically called me up. He was hoping to retire in 2 years. He's kind of tired. He's kind of fed up. The commute's gotten longer. And he wants to know, hey, like, can I retire? I'm done. And we went through the numbers. It's 2 years ahead of where he was projecting, but based on where the market is and how things are performing, we went and we redid the plan. We kept it up to speed and he can retire. And then, that makes him go back to work tomorrow, feel a little bit better. Like, all right, I could leave here if I really wanted to. I'm on the path. I am financially independent. I'm choosing to work. I don't have to work. And that's a big difference. It makes you feel better. One client that recently we just had a review with, their circumstances changed a bit. They're doing very well. They're retired, but their kids aren't doing as well as they would like them to do. They're looking at the struggles. We all see the housing market is very tight. There isn't a ton of inventory, and they're watching their kids just really work hard, and save money. And their concern is they'll never save the 20% down payment, especially with interest rates as high as they are. They're concerned that their kids won't be able to afford a house. So they've asked us, hey, can we look at the plan? What if we pull some capital from our investments and we gifted it to our kids? What's the tax ramifications of that? What are the gifting rules? But what does that do to us overall if also we pull a pretty significant chunk of money out of our portfolio to gift to the kids so that will help them get that down payment of that house? And we went through that plan and we showed them that there was going to be really no effect to them long term. They've done a really good job of saving. The money's growing. They don't need their money to work as hard as they once thought they did. And we're able to show them like, hey, you can gift this amount of money to your kids, and it's not going to have any effect on the probability of success moving forward. You're still in a very strong position. And, that makes them feel really comfortable. And now that they want to see their kids thrive while they're living versus, hey, we're going to pass away, they're going to inherit all this. Let's help them out now while they're living. But these are some things that kind of happen throughout the years and the days. Your health changes. Maybe your marital situation changes, your work situation changes. So you want to make sure that you're meeting with your advisor, you're reviewing your portfolio, and you're making sure that things are up to speed and they reflect your current situation today.
Yeah, there's one thing that's consistent in our lives. That's change. And the markets are going to change. The economy is going to change. The president is going to change. Taxes are going to change. You're going to change. And you need a financial plan that's going to change right along with you and handle those needs. We call it a 365 retirement plan. We would love to put one together for you at no charge. If you give us a look on our website, which is 365retirement.com, 365retirement.com, there's a button up in the upper right-hand corner. It says Talk to an Advisor. When you click there, you can actually schedule on a calendar your 10, 15-minute phone call with John or some of the team at Rubino and Lang Wealth Partners, and we'll talk through what your questions are. And many times that leads to an in-person or a Zoom meeting where we sit down and say, okay, how can we help you solve these problems? Let's get it all out on the table and start to work some numbers. That's where the real work begins. We'd love to do that for you, and we'll do that for you at no charge. Again, go to 365retirement.com. We'll see you next time here on the 365 Retirement Podcast.
Ryan Marston and John Conley are investment advisor representatives of Brookstone Wealth Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Investment financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Sam Lang is licensed in your state, please call 617-630-8787. Rubino and Lang Wealth Partners is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Rubino and Lang Insurance Agency, LLC, Massachusetts Insurance License number 1783398.